system at the pre-tertiary level for broad stakeholder consultation for implementation. According to the unions, the unilateral change in the school calendar from the trimester system to the semester system to cover pupils at the primary and kindergarten levels by the GES was arbitrary and an imposition on the major stakeholders in education, of which the unions are a part. Meanwhile, new just in indicates the Ghana Education Service GES will on Thursday, January 20, 2022, engage teacher unions on the new academic calendar and contact hours for schools. The unions are the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, the Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana, and the Teacher and Educational Workers Union. Meanwhile, the Ghana National Council of Private Schools says its member schools will maintain the trimester system at the basic education level instead of the semester system introduced by the Ghana Education Service. The council said the argument that long contact hours will result in improved qualified tuition is not grounded in research and that should be ignored. In an earlier interview with GBC News, the executive director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, Mr. Enoch Kwesi Jetua, urged the GES to consult further on the new system before implementation.
Academic calendar is not a responsibility of the Ministry of Education to design it and enforce it on the private schools. Based on educational regulations, private schools are free from going by their own academic calendar. And since time immemorial, private schools have been using a unique or a bespoke academic calendar that befits the purposes of running their education. And they have been seen, let's say, effective in the delivering of education. So when this academic calendar came out, we realized and studied it and realized that it will not meet the uniqueness of private education. And for that matter, we have directed all private schools in Ghana to go by the trimester system which we have put in place for them. The principles in the curriculum is that it demands a lot of rigorous activity. And for that matter, engaging the child for a longer period of time will even retard the energy of the child and will not bring any productivity. That is why I said that the GES ought to have conducted a stakeholder engagement to broaden this discussion and come out with a conclusion that would have been better for the decision that they have taken. Proper consultation has not been done. The workers' union are not happy, and it is very clear when you are coming out with any policy and you don't do a proper consultation, its implementation will not surface, and it will definitely cause a challenge. And that is what we are seeing. I still don't understand why GS has not come out openly to apologize to the public and then withdraw this, go to the table, call all the stakeholders necessary, call the technical review people so that they can work on this and come back to the trimester base.
Butchers operating in the Bolgatanga municipality of the Upper East region have embarked on an indefinite strike over efforts by the municipal assembly to relocate them to a new abattoir at Yorogo. According to the butchers, the new abattoir is not only far from the town, but that they were not consulted.
The Bolgatanga Municipal Assembly said the dilapidated state of the old abattoir and its attendant environmental conditions compelled the assembly to construct a new abattoir at Yorogo, a suburb of Bolga, at a cost of 1.2 million Ghana cedis for the butchers. When GBC News visited the old abattoir located in the middle of Bogatanga, the slaughterhouse was under lock and key. Meat sellers at various parts of the Bogatanga municipality, in solidarity with the butchers, have also refused to open their meat shops to serve the public. The chairman of the Butchers Association, Mr. Inisa Samari, said they will only move to the newly constructed abattoir on condition that the assembly will relocate the animals market to the area.
Oto ni ntwe ma no de ewurum saka de be kokko de yankase be pe ka na sa motokin be ne diaba o mo se enye yen kwansa e kire na o mama ni ntwe fo no mra ena inam ni ntwe so ne yekum afi yekugina hum no se ntwe na ma de ni de bekum na e gira hokwa.
In an interview with GBC News, the Upper East Regional Chairperson for the Ghana Traditional Caterers Association, Madame Dinah Apeisi, urged the Assembly and the butchers to resolve the issue to prevent residents from consuming unwholesome meat.
I will only plead to the Assembly to sit with them again. I've been told that they have sat with them several times, but I think they should still continue to do something.
Mr. Michael Colette, a customer at the abattoir, spoke to GBC News.
So you have built the assembly so that they should come down, whatever it is, so the issue so that we are going our business.
When contacted, the Bogatanga Municipal Chief Executive, Mr. Rex Asanga, said the old abattoir was locked after several attempts to relocate the butchers proved futile. He expressed surprise at the sudden U-turn by the butchers about relocating to the new abattoir after numerous engagements with executives of the association.
As it is now, the assembly doesn't intend to reopen the slaughterhouse in town. If you are a butcher and you want to engage in the sale of meat in the Bolga municipality, it must be coming from the abattoir at Yorogo. So that is the condition. That's the state of things.
The old abattoir employs over 200 butchers and salesmen, serving a population of over 1 million, and is the only abattoir that supplies meat, food vendors, and hotels in the municipality. The new abattoir is an ultra-modern facility fitted with up-to-date machines to enhance the work of butchers. The leadership of the butchers told the news team that actions by the assembly to lock up the old abattoir to force them to move to the new abattoir have resulted in their strike. For GBC News, Samuel Ayama, Boga.
Time to break. We'll be back shortly. Do stay.
Good evening and welcome. Time now for the business segment, proudly brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. I am Dorothy Ajamai. Government has reiterated the importance of the electronic transaction levy, e-levy, to its 2022 revenue program, urging both sides of parliament to pass the bill when sitting resumes next week. Addressing the media a while ago, the Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, said the e-levy is crucial to increasing the country's tax to GDP from the current 13% to 16% this year. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta said a strong recovery of the economy will require a robust revenue base.
Our revenue to GDP ratio has languished between 11.3% in 2016 to 12.5% in 2021, compared to 16% to 20% of our neighbors. Also, our VAT penetration revenue at 11% to 13%, compared to 18 to 44% of our peers. Clearly, this is an unsustainable way to anchor the extensive transformation agenda articulated in our Ghana Cares Over Tampa program. Ladies and gentlemen, the e-levy is a necessary tool to increase our tax to GDP from circa 11 to 13% to 16%. And above, to guarantee that we'll pay for what we use. The e-levy will not only ensure that we move towards a more sustainable debt level, but will also ensure that we have the revenues to sustainably invest in entrepreneurship, youth employment, cybersecurity, digital and road infrastructure. The e-levy also provides a means for all Ghanaians to help support their country and grow this economy as compliant citizens, given to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That the e-levy was born out of a careful study of current trends in this rapidly evolving digital age and is specific on the transactions on which it will be applied.
The Bank of Ghana has announced that effective 1st July 2022, the Ghana card shall be the only identification card to be used for transactions at all Bank of Ghana licensed and regulated financial institutions, including banks, specialized deposit-taking institutions, and non-deposit-taking financial institutions. Also, payment service providers and dedicated electronic money issuers, forex bureaus and credit reference bureaus will do business with only holders of the Ghana card. The announcement forms part of the central bank's objectives of ensuring the safety of the financial system in pursuant to Regulation 7 of the National Identity Register 2012 LI 2111 and Section 30 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020 Act 1044 and Regulation 12 of the Anti-Money Laundering Regulations 2011 LI 1987, which stipulates that all financial institutions shall take steps to update customer records with the Ghana card. Customers of Bank of Ghana regulated financial institutions are advised to update their records with their respective financial institutions with the Ghana card. For Know Your Customer purposes, the National Identification Authority Verification Transaction Platform will be integrated into the Bank of Ghana's Financial Monitoring Platform. This will ensure that all financial transactions performed within the ecosystem are linked to one identity and information and unique codes for the transactions shared with the Bank of Ghana to facilitate the identification of initiators or beneficiaries for track and trace purposes. This will include, but not limited to, transactions by banks, non-bank financial institutions, and mobile money operators. The public is to note that no other form of identification will be accepted for financial transactions in Bank of Ghana after the effective date, 1st July 2022. For the next 4 years, total value of investment into the country is expected to increase from 22% to 35%, through the expertise of a new board for the Venture Capital Trust Fund. Also, the new board for the Ghana Supply Company is expected to provide management with the professional impetus to revive the fortunes of the company. The two boards have been inaugurated by the Ministry of Finance here in Accra. The establishment of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, VCTF, in 2004 was an attestation of the country's commitment to support private businesses with long-term capital for growth and job creation. It was also an intervention by the government to address the financing needs of MSMEs in Ghana as they hold the key to a robust SME sector. In the last decade, VCTF has created 7 funds with investments in over 60 companies, having leveraged additional $89.7 million from invested capital of $29 million. Sustainable direct jobs created from these investments are over 3,400, with additional 13,500 indirect. A 2019 report by PwC identified a funding gap of 115 billion cedis to the services and manufacturing sectors of the economy by 2025. The ravaging effect that the emergence of COVID-19 has had on businesses in general and SMEs in particular has made it imperative for the provision of the right kind of funding for MSMEs. A survey conducted by the Africa Venture Capital and Private Equity Association in April 2020 showed that West Africa has become an attractive destination for foreign investment and is expected to be the most attractive destination for the next 3 years. Between 2014 and 2019, investments worth $10.2 billion were made in West Africa, with Nigeria attracting about 68% and Ghana attracting 22% of these investments. At the inauguration of an 8-member board for the VCTF, the board chair, Mr. Kofi Yamwa, said they intend to build a strong corporate structure to execute its mandate. The finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, said the VCTF is a beneficiary of the Ghana Economic Transformation Project aimed at promoting private investments, hence the need to ensure that its intended purpose is realized.
If you look at its past record and the difficulties they have had in management, I'm not sure it was a good time to put in money at that time. But I think we are at a point in time that we can trust that lessons have been learned, prosecutions have happened, governance is good, and it's time to move forward.
Next was the inauguration of a 7-member board by the Ghana Supply Company. A Deputy Minister for Finance, Mrs. Abna Osei-Asari, said with the relevant experiences, knowledge, skills and competencies with which the members were selected, the ministry expects that they will deliver in making the company a profitable and self-sustaining SOE. The retained board chair, Major Daniel Soa Ablokwaku, retired, said the company in the last 5 years has made significant strides, especially in the area of good corporate governance.
The individuals that have been invited to constitute this board have accepted the challenge to put their knowledge and expertise at the disposal of the company to promote its well-being and lift it from one whose performance had been regarded as below par in the past into one that can also be mentioned in dispatches.
Both boards were urged to work assiduously to refine the role of the companies by giving of their best to justify the trust and confidence reposed in them. You're still watching the business segment of News Hour. Wholesale prices saw a marginal drop in December 2021 as consumer inflation recorded its biggest jump in 5 years. The Consumer Price Index, which measures producer prices, was down 0.2% for the month, compared with 2.8% recorded the previous month. However, on a 12-month basis, the index was up 12.8%.
The monthly gain was a sharp drop-off from the 2 previous months, which showed gains of 2.8% in November and 2% in October. The 12.8% December rate was driven by rising prices of fuel and food, which pushed inflation in the manufacturing sector to 19.2%. 2 out of the 16 major groups in the manufacturing subsector recorded inflation rates higher than the sector average of 19.2%. The producer price inflation in the mining and quarrying subsector decreased by 1.7 percentage points over the November 2021 rate of 1.8% in December 2021. The utility subsector recorded a 0.2% inflation rate for December 2021. Although much relevance is attached to the Consumer Price Index, the PPI shows the trend in input cost and the impact on inflation.
Let's have the performance of the local currency on the forex market and the commodity prices. That's it for the business segment, brought to you by MTN and Whirlpool. The energy segment is next.
Energy News segment. My name is Mabel Anang. The oil market has been projected to take a nosedive if investments are not channeled into the hydrocarbon industry to make up for the deficit created by the Omicron variant and the consistent increase in crude oil prices. Some oil traders still believe the market could run out of steam due to the Omicron variant, seasonal refinery maintenance in the second quarter, and a potential slowdown in China. Price of Brent crude hit its highest level in more than 7 years on Tuesday, selling at $87.62. Experts say if the price of crude oil continues to surge, it will cause prices of petroleum products to shoot up on the local market in Ghana, and the rippling effect will be an increase in transport fares. Some oil marketing companies are already selling petrol and diesel at 7 cedis per litre. Broadly, inflation and cost of living are expected to go up. Speaking to GBC News, energy analyst Dr. Yusuf Suleimana said if the situation is not dealt with, there will be shortage in supply of the commodity, which will lead to constant hikes in fuel prices.
Investment into the world of hydrocarbon has been constrained, and that starts from the upstream. And if it holds, and assuming investment is not reactivated into the upstream to churn out more barrels into the global basket, and OPEC is not also willing to release more barrels into the market, this market can only get worse. All right? And what analysts or pundits are now beginning to fear is the fact that it looks like, the supply may not be able to catch up with the demand if in the immediate terms. It may be difficult.
Dr. Sulemana urged government to boost Ghana's refining abilities to produce and sell locally to cushion the market to avoid fuel price increases.
Countries have to make concerted effort to be self-reliant, to depend on themselves. For instance, in our part of the world, why don't you increase our refining capabilities? That, I mean, we will be able to also refine our crude oil and then sell it locally. You know, these are all factors that can cushion the market, that can cushion the, I mean, as against this swinging motion or the pendulum motion of the market.
And that's how we end the Energy News segment. My name is Mabel Anna. Health News is up next.
Good evening. My name is Mavis Ofe Echampong. The Health News is brought to you by Lufat, Tobinco's premier gift to West Africa against malaria. The Ghana Health Services, it is now safe for COVID-19 vaccines to be administered to pregnant women in Ghana. At a news briefing in Accra, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, indicated that the Ghana Health Service would implement a vaccine booster policy to stem the tide.
Concerns about the safety of administering COVID vaccines to pregnant women and lactating mothers. However, with time, local and international data and findings have revealed it is safe. At a news briefing in Accra, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, said specific vaccines have been recommended for use by pregnant women, just like the ones for 15-year-olds, those below 18 and 15.
Pregnant women who are unvaccinated will now be offered, can now be vaccinated. Previously, it was not policy to vaccinate them. Now they can be vaccinated. We've done quite a lot of work. We, as Ghana Health and all the other agencies who are working with us, we are all concerned about pregnant women. That's why we didn't add in the first place, in the first 1 year of implementation. But now that we have enough evidence, both international and local, we are now able to add pregnant women to it because it's effective and safe. There are studies in Ghana, we are collaborating, which we are even looking at effect on breastfeeding and etc. And so far, it is safe, and that is why we are adding that to that. And they are recommending that we use either Moderna or Pfizer, which is the mRNA technology, to vaccinate them.
In other news, an ultra-modern medical center has been opened at Spentex in Accra. The facility, owned by Bond House Medical Center, is the second to be operated to provide quality primary health care and specialized treatment to residents in the community at an affordable rate.
Bond House Medical Center started operations in 2020 when the COVID-19 pandemic was at its peak. The medical center began operations as its first center in the Tema metropolis, providing quality primary health and specialized healthcare services. With license from the Health Facilities Regulatory Agency, HIFRA, the medical center, after 2 years of operating in Tema, has opened another branch at Spintex to extend quality healthcare delivery to the community. The new ultra-modern health center comes with a specialized laboratory, pharmacy, consulting rooms, theater, wards, and other facilities to provide the best of care in a serene environment. Management of the facility say much attention will be given to women health and pediatric care. The medical director of Bond House Medical Center, Dr. Alfred Lamte, said for the past 2 years, the medical center has provided effective and efficient healthcare service to clients and is ready to provide exceptional services at its new center.
The customer or the patient is our primary focus. If you come in and you have a very bad experience, you are not going to come back, and you are not going to recommend the medical center to anyone. So the key words are service excellence.
Mr. Leonard Lamte is the Group Managing Director of Bond House Medical Center.
Service delivery is very important to us. We believe that with the right service, with the right attitude, we'll be able to deliver excellent health care to the patients. And so for us, one of the major pointers for us is to always ensure that the patient is key, to deliver the best service to the patient, to even follow up to make sure that the patients are doing well. We don't want to see healthcare delivery as a one-off transaction, where a patient comes into your hospital, you treat, and then you let go. But for us, we'll treat and follow up and ensure that the patient is doing very well.
With 2 operational centers now, management of Bond House Medical Center say more centers will be opened in Accra and Takoradi and also expand its operations in Africa.
The health news was brought to you by Lufat. So being coach premier gave to West Africa against malaria. The foreign news continues.